For registration and details on the live events, check the website at thestagesoflove.com. Welcome to the call. The call is starting in 1 minute. We all being recorded.
And Angela.
Hi, Angela.
And Sarah.
Thomas and Sarah, hi. Thomas
Hello.
has started the recording of the call. And Thomas will be managing the muting as well. Welcome, everybody, to the call. Expect in 1 minute.
Chair, Lisa.
Welcome to the call.
Hi. How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
It's 6 o'clock. Here's Thomas.
Hey, good evening. Joanne, am I coming in clear?
You are, but on my side, you're a little faint.
You're sounding staticky, Joanne. So let me see if I can hear from somebody else who's not on mute. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Brother Dan,
Yeah.
you sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, Joanne, you're broken up, but it may not matter anymore. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the call. First of all, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for whatever you had to work out to be on this call. I appreciate it, and I acknowledge it. This is one of my absolute passions. It's my hobby, my avocation. It's the thing in life that I love to do. Of all the things that I get to do that I love to do in my life. And there are so many things. You know, my life is full. It includes a worthwhile career, an amazing family, fantastic friends, a relationship that ranks in the highest of any I've ever had the privilege of seeing or being in. So the reason that I do what I do is to fulfill on a commitment that I have. It's a profound commitment to couples being profoundly united, profoundly reunited, and magically in love. I am the possibility of love, true love being expressed, experienced, and expanded wherever I am, and this is my declared purpose in life. So I welcome you to the call. I'm now going to be muting everyone who's on the line. If for any reason you decide there's something you want to say, you would just unmute yourself by pressing *6, saying your name, and I'll call on you. There will be times throughout the call where we will be sharing, okay? Very good. So now everybody's muted, so you don't have to worry about your background noise at this time. So the 7 stages of breathtaking relationships. I'm going to briefly review the stages 1 through 4. And by the way, if this is your first time on the call, don't worry if you don't have any of the previous calls. Each call is designed to be complete in and of itself, and all the calls are recorded and they are posted on our website at thestagesoflove.com. So stage 1, I call stage 1 HIGH, H-I-G-H. It's an acronym for highly intoxicated, giddy, and happy. You're in love, and the brain floods the body with oxytocin and dopamine, powerful hormones. They give you an exciting experience, and for couples it can last anywhere from 6 months up to 2 years, during which time you could be considered borderline nuts. And then there's stage 2. Stage 2 I call distinguishing from. The distinguishing from stage is when the oxytocin and dopamine begin to back down just a little bit. I refer to this also as the coming down stage. They're subsiding a little, they're subsiding a little in your bodies, and then reality is starting to show up. And in this stage, you begin to authentically ask questions. Questions like, who are you, really? Who am I, really? And then who are we, really? And that leads us into stage 3, which is the choice stage. Now, this stage is loaded. 50% of all relationships end in stage 3 as a natural occurrence. Then another percentage moves through it powerfully, while others get stuck in this stage. Those that get stuck rarely get through it. Why? Because there's no real language to reference what's happening. And by the way, that's why we're here. See, communications get heated while the couple starts blaming each other and blaming themselves, and a blame game leads to a turbulent coupling. In many cases, the couple will remain faithful but miserable. And by the way, when people are stuck in stage 3, I do offer a number of different coaching options on my website. It also includes the fees. See, when you're in stage 3, and if you acknowledge and recognize that you are possibly stuck, ask yourself these questions. Do I bring out the best in this person? Does this person bring out the best in me? When I'm being with them, does it make me want to be a better me? See, too often, when we're hoping to bring out the best in someone else, we tend to focus on action items like doing a favor, buying gifts, going out on a special date, or acts of service. But I want you to consider that maybe during this time, the opportunity to start practicing empathy, like real feeling. When we empathize with our beloved, we feel situations in life the way they do. They feel listened to, respected, and understood, and this helps build a particular trust in the relationship. And when we establish that deep level of trust and understanding, each one in the relationship begins to feel safe and can allow their innermost best to shine through. When you move through stage 3 into stage 4, the brain dance, this is a magnificent stage for a relationship, and it lives in the background, the life of the relationship. But listen, you cannot have the beauty of stage 4 without powerfully moving through stage 3. When you're stuck in stage 3, stage 4 cannot come alive. By now, if you've moved through, you've chosen the relationship and you've chosen the partner, and stages 1 through 3 are complete in this cycle. The brain dance is a kind of syncing, syncing, syncing. You start to think alike. The couple has a mind of its own. Doesn't minimize your individuality. On the contrary, it thrives on your individuality. Thinking alike doesn't mean always agreeing, by the way, but it does mean honoring your differences of opinion. You are in sync, a harmony of rhythm to the dance of the brain. When the rhythm is played, it sings love deeply within us. In the couple, it is your job, and couples, listen to me closely, it is your job. It's not your partner's job. It's your job to learn the rhythm. Learning your partner's rhythm is part of your new avocation for being in a relationship that you intend to stay in. Listen, if any of you have ever read 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, the 6 rhythms are directly related to the love languages. We each have our own language of love. Acknowledgement, being listened to, or quality time is the second one. So the first one's acknowledgement. The second one's being listened to, attended to. It's also referred to as quality time. The third one is touch. The fourth one is gifting. The fifth one is service. And the sixth one is display. I encourage you to do the work to learn your own rhythm and then the rhythm of your partner. How do you do that? Well, one good way to do it is to eliminate one of the 6 that you could do without. So you look at acknowledgement and you say to myself, wow, if all I could have are the other 5, how would I feel if I gave up acknowledgement? And then you go to the next one the same way, and you say, quality time, being listened to, attended to. If I had to give up any one of the 6, would I give up that one to keep the other ones, such as touch? And by touch, I don't necessarily mean intimacy or sex. I mean touch, like petting, touching, hugging, that kind of touch. And then gifting is when you give special surprises or little gifts or cards to your partner. Sometimes what I like to do is maybe I'll write a little note and put it inside of Raphael's car, something that would surprise him in the morning or when he's off somewhere. That's gifting. And then service is doing things for the other, special things that matter to them. And, I shouldn't have said special because it's only special because you did them. It could be washing their car. It could be picking up their laundry. It could be picking up their favorite fruit at the store on the way home. There's lots of things that you could do in the range of service. I had one couple, it was amazing to me, like all the other one really wanted was for the partner to do something special to the dining room table. And when he did, it was like he got so many points for that. Then and then display is a very special category because this person wants everybody to know they're the one. This is the kind of person that when you send them flowers, sending them to their home is okay. But if you send them to work where their friends see and ask the question, wow, where did you get those? Oh, I wish that were my spouse, or I wish somebody loved me the way that they love you, that's display. That kind of person wants other people to know how lovable they are and how in love they are, and that you show others how special they are. And then we move to today, and that is stage 5. And stage 5 is the co-creating stage. This, my friends, is where the lights come on, and you are looking for your unique contribution to be expressed in the world, beyond just being a couple. Scientists say that people who have meaning and purpose in their lives bigger than themselves are happier, feel more in control, and get more out of what they do. They also experience less stress, less anxiety, and depression. So before I continue into that world, I wouldn't mind hearing just from a couple of you. Some of you have been on all the calls. Some of you might be new to the call. If you've been on the calls, I don't care if it's just been one other. I want to hear what's been opening up for you. What have you taken on newly? What new actions have you taken? And if you're new to the calls, I'd like to hear, hey, what's up for you? What are you interested in? Why are you here? What are you expecting? So I'm going to unmute the line so I can hear from a couple of you before we continue on. Okay, so you're now unmuted. You just say your name, and that'd be like raising your hand, and I'll call on you.
Ron?
Yeah, brother.
So, as far as what I'm doing differently or what actions have I taken that are different or new, a new action, as recently as yesterday, my wife and I, we went on a date. So in some respect, that's kind of new, but not really. But what made it special was the spontaneity of it. So a few days ago, I'm thinking, it'd be nice for us to do something together. And my wife is the kind of person who enjoys being at home, doing her gardening, and, I could easily not put together a date, and I think she would be content. But given the love languages, and listening from there, one of the things that I know about my wife is she likes surprises. So, as simple as it was, yesterday I picked the phone up. I called a playhouse here locally that provides dinner, and it's a live skit.
Brother, you're breaking up. You're breaking up bad, man. It might be your headset.
Is it better?
Nope. No, sorry.
Is this better?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Well.
Move on then.
Oh, now it's better.
That we heard clear.
All right, so I put together the date, and it was as simple as that. But really, what was unique about it was, as fleeting as the thoughts are, it's like, yeah, maybe we ought to do something, and then not take any action. So anyway, I made the phone call. I asked Kathy. She's like, oh yeah, we had a fabulous time. We met fabulous people there, and really, it was just, it was a simple action in one regard, but on another hand, I mean, it really just it was a delightful evening to be together.
Brother, that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah, thank you.
And hey, what about the afterglow?
The afterglow,
like the impact on her.
Oh my gosh! Well, it was a special evening afterwards, so I'll just leave it at that. And I don't know if that's afterglow, but there was afterglowing. So
good, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, Thomas. This is Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah.
Hi, this is Sarah. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, Angela and I, we've been together for about 15 years now, and our ahas are really that we feel like that we're going through stages maybe for a third time or something like that. So just trying to distinguish where we are in our stages and, refocusing on the love language and refocusing on the choices that we make today versus maybe things we made 15 years ago or 12 years ago or 5 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever it is. And so it's just, it is an interesting pattern to see and make new choices.
Perfect. Really good. Okay, so I'm going to mute again unless there's somebody else who wants to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, very, very good. So thank you guys for the sharing. I talk to couples on a regular basis, and always I ask, what do you want? What do you want? And they almost always answer pretty much the same thing. They say, I want to be happy. And I say, okay. And then I ask again, but what do you really want? And they say, I want to really be happy. I say, okay, I get that. And I keep drilling down until we get to something real, like I want to be loved. I want to be appreciated. I want to be honored, adored. And I say, now that's what I'm talking about. You can have anything you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. You can get everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. That's Zig Ziglar. So what do you want? What do you really want? Being happy is elusive. Many of us will spend a lifetime chasing and trying to figure out its elusive nature. We'll spend most of our time thinking about it, measuring for it, contemplating it, etc. So let's just talk for a moment about being happy. In our culture, the paradigm that you were born into, without any say about it, your happiness is directly connected to your circumstances. When you have the right circumstances, you're happy. And when you don't, you're not. What if being happy had nothing to do with your circumstances? What if you could be happy in the face of any circumstance? That's real power. Real power is the ability to create being happy in the face of any circumstance. Listen, I'm not saying it's easy. It's very simple, but easy, I don't know. And listen, you could also take being stressed, even being anxious, and notice that being stressed is directly connected to your circumstances. If you have the right circumstances, you're not stressed. But if you don't have the right circumstances, then perhaps you get stressed out or anxiety sets in. And just like I said about being happy, what if those experiences had nothing to do with your circumstances? What if you could be peaceful, be happy, and be calm in the face of any circumstance? So let's take a look. First, we've got to ask the question, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? See, scientists say that people who are connected to something bigger than they are, bigger than their circumstances, a purpose, if you will, they have more happiness. They have less stress. They have less anxiety than people who don't. They are simply happier. So I started to think, like the chicken and the egg, could it be that happy people simply connect to something bigger? Like what comes first? Connect to something bigger and that makes you happy? Or could it be happy, and because I'm happy, I see more. Things are more clear to me, and I connect to something, like something bigger than me, when I do that. It creates a cycle. The cyclical nature of life gets experienced. The cyclical nature of being happy, a virtuous cycle. In any couple, when you get to stage 5, the co-creation stage, and that is what I'm pointing to here, you've done all the work. You made it to stage 4, and stage 4 is operating in the background of the couple. It's the backbone for the existence of the identity of the couple. See, that stage doesn't stop or disappear. It continues in the background. You still create your partner as perfect, and you give up the right to see and focus on or expand on their imperfections. And by doing that, you actually make them happy. And when you're making them happy, it cannot help but come back and make you happy. Now, soon I'm going to be asking for some sharing, so I want you to be very focused for the next few minutes. You see, that relationship, as it gets a little bit more mature, fulfilling, but there has to be more to life, right? So let me back up just a second. So you make them happy just by focusing on their perfection. And by that, it comes back on you and makes you happy. But then you're moving through the stages, and if both of you are happy, see, the happy couple needs a bigger purpose than just trying to be happy. You spent so much of your life in the hunt, so much of your life in the kill. And by that, I simply mean hunting for your partner and then finally getting them nestled down and make them yours, right? The kill. And so much of your life putting it all together, and then once you reach a momentum, there becomes a lull. And in order to have it be extraordinary and fulfilling and satisfying, the couple needs a purpose, something bigger than themselves, something bigger than their circumstances. The happy couple needs a purpose bigger than just trying to be happy. So where does that start? Well, it starts with identifying or distinguishing your own purpose in life. And there's a couple of schools of thought regarding life purpose. For some, they are that we're born with a purpose and we need to find it. For others, it's we find a purpose and then live it like we were born to live it. Either point of view provides the same outcome. The same power and energy that I'm pointing to is available with both points of view. What is your purpose? What is your reason for being alive? What is the legacy that you will leave behind? In the couple, there's you and there's your partner. You have a purpose and your partner has a purpose. Whether or not it's currently distinguished, you both have a purpose, but it's now part of the game. The game in this stage is to distinguish, what am I here for? What matters to me most? What is the legacy I will leave behind? And then bringing those two purposes together, something beautiful arises for the couple. They begin to ask their question, why? Why are we here? Why are we together? What legacy will we leave behind? So take a look with me, you guys. Those of you who kind of faded off and you're in a trance right now, wake up and take a look with me. If you had happiness handled, if that weren't something you had to go after, what would your life be for? I'm going to unmute. Okay, let me hear from one or two of you. If you had happiness handled, what would your life be for?
Fine.
Yeah.
So my oldest is 21 years old, Kaylin, and then Hannah's 19. Neither one are married. And what I've created is that my life is for my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is there are moments like my wife wanted me to help her plant plants today, which I don't enjoy, and I didn't want to do it. And in that flash, like, I don't want to go out there and plant plants. But what was there for me inside of my life's for my grandkids is that as an expression and as a demonstration to be a husband, a dad who would be there with their spouse and enjoy being outside, doing those things that I know are important to Kathy. It made it possible for me just to, go out and give my life away, like my time away, and give up what I wanted to do in that moment as a demonstration for what's possible for my kids' kids.
Very good. I got it, brother. Couples who play together stay together. And by the way, playing together interrupts the pretenses: jealousy, blame, failure, loneliness, fear, being victimized. Those are the 7 pretenses that couples get stuck in. And couples who tend to play together don't have to deal with those. Those get interrupted. So it's very good, Ron. Thank you. Anybody else?
Brother Dan here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's great. Couples that play together, stay together.
Brother Dan, you sound terrible also.
This is high tech, baby. Let's see. Hang on. Is that better?
Nope.
All right, well, I changed phones and headsets. Go ahead. Move
Oh,
forward.
man. Yeah, that's bad, brother.
Okay, see you later.
Good try. Anybody else? Okay.
Thomas.
We all long for somebody. We long for somebody who not only loves us, but longs to receive our love back. And it's our greatest fear, giving it all away, all to that one person. A huge risk, isn't it? The realness, the openness of it. Their words of love burn in our hearts. But when we hold back, if we hide our vulnerability, that becomes a barrier to actually getting to a place of what am I here for? We all have a need to make sense of our lives. You get hungry for meaning, a yearning to do something that really matters. And those things come to surface when who you are is happy. And not happy by accident, and not happy by circumstance, but happy as a commitment. Happy to fulfill your life as somebody who really matters. Distinguishing your purpose. First, begin by examining what you're currently doing and your choices, your way of life, your commitments. But look at those from the outside. Look from outside yourself and try to discern what the outcomes, whether they be success or failures, what those outcomes reveal to you about your inner self. Look for where there seems to be resonance or not. That is, don't try to find your purpose by tweaking or fine-tuning what you've been doing in your work or what you've been doing in your relationships or anything else. Instead, let all of that teach you what it can. Look at what it tells you about your longings, your inner vision, and what you might be trying to express through your life. Infuse all of your actions with a spirit of giving, a spirit of service, in effect, with love for what you're engaging with. Bringing love to everything that you do. That includes bringing love to all the people you interact with. The more you consciously infuse your thoughts, emotions, and behavior with positive, life-affirming energy, kindness, compassion, generosity, justice, you're keeping your ego at bay, and you're able to see your true purpose with greater clarity. Now, first of all, I think everybody feels a pull towards some defining purpose to his or her life, no matter how much it may have become shrouded over along the way. In fact, you could say that all forms of life, all natural phenomena, have some purpose. There's always movement or evolution towards some kind of outcome or fulfillment, whether it's a tree that produces fruit or clouds that form to produce rain. But we humans become so enraptured by our daily activity, engagements, goals, our seeking for happiness, and so forth, that our awareness of our own unique life purpose is easily dimmed. Those who experience a clear inclination and don't pursue it or fulfill it remain incomplete and become dissatisfied. And if you're in a couple, when you go to being incomplete and dissatisfied, you'll begin to blame the relationship and pull away from your partner. Purpose gives us a sense of peace, a sense of fulfillment overall, a sense of integration, a kind of integrity, a continuous unfoldment of our being. It transcends the everyday ups and downs, the disappointments, or the successes even. When you're living in accordance with your life's purpose, you view all of that as part of what you encounter along the road. They don't distract you from that larger vision, your ideal, which is like a magnet steadily pulling you towards it. This rhythm of the soul is what brings life to the couple. Okay, I've unmuted because I want to hear just anything that's going on for you regarding your life purpose or anything that you've seen so far. Brother Dan, if you want to try again, we might can hear you somehow or other. Ron cleared up, so maybe you will too. Unless
Charlie?
Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Thomas.
You sound perfect.
So, I've looked at this off and on, and not intentionally. It just kind of shows up in my life, like, really, what am I about?
Yeah.
And all I can see right now is that I want to be a contribution. But I haven't been able to discern exactly what to give myself to.
Yeah. Well, one thing you could consider, Charlie, is that if you are chasing the elusive happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will always be in the way of you seeing your purpose. So one thing to get handled first is practicing and creating the ability to create happiness in the face of any circumstance, so that being happy is no longer your focus. You follow? See, for the everyday, ordinary human being, and there's nothing wrong with this, right? Nothing wrong. It's just the way it is. We chase happiness, and many people chase happiness until the day they die. So you want to be one of those extraordinary people that learns now that chasing the elusive nature of happiness could be a lifetime avocation with no real benefit.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, you can. You and I are creators, and as creators, creating happiness is number one. Go ahead.
So I'm familiar with that, with how our circumstances drive us.
Certainly.
But I do think I recognize that, and there's times when I'm letting my circumstances dictate who I am and how I'm being and what I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah. So what do you do about it?
Well,
let's say you notice it, and then what do you do about it?
So I look at it and I go, okay, so who am I going to be in this matter? What do I choose? And I choose happiness.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you one more step that's missing, and this will make a big difference. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Before you can create anything, you have to uncollapse what's going on currently. So, for instance, if you see your circumstances are giving you your experience,
yes,
what does that immediately tell you?
I'm at the effect of.
Well, you are at the effect of, but here's what it should tell you, Charlie. So this is the thing I want everybody on the call to get forever. What it's telling you is that who you are is now collapsed with what's happening. And what do we call that? As a graduate, it's called a vicious circle. You see? And you cannot create anything on top of a vicious circle.
Right.
I was working with a couple yesterday, and that was one of the things that we distinguished. In fact, it's why I brought it to the call, because it came alive for me again. And that is, before you can create happiness, before you can create anything new, being peaceful, being calm, any virtuous being, you must first uncollapse. So that is, I take those two worlds, the me and the circumstance, and I separate them. And now there's me, and the circumstances are over there, something I observe, something I see. And if I create being happy, that's a whole different individual looking at those circumstances, is it not?
Yes.
Much more powerful individual, a person who has some say in the matter. But when it's collapsed, it's all hope. You have no real say. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks
I
for
get
bringing
that.
that up.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Yeah, great. Anybody else?
Hey, Thomas, this is Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah.
Okay, I just drew some circles on this piece of paper in front of me, so bear with me one second, okay?
Sure.
If I had a whiteboard, I'd be drawing on that too. So you were talking about the virtuous cycle, and you just touched on that vicious cycle too. And so what I drew on this paper first is I drew a circle with happiness in it. I drew a separate circle with circumstances, and sometimes they lean on each other if we're in the vicious cycle.
That's right.
The happiness is trying to touch the circumstances to get all happy in the vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But then there's another circle that was outside of both of those circles, and that was the purpose. And the purpose and the happiness circle, if they touch, they don't have to touch the circumstances. They can just look at it. They can just look at the circumstances, and that's the virtuous cycle. This is just what I'm...
Very good. I got it. It's how your brain's working right now. I love it. I love how your mind works.
Yeah.
It's good. Anything else about that?
Well, that just, it just made me think, in our 15 years together, we've had a purpose, and our purpose was, to create a family. And, that purpose was fulfilled, has been fulfilled, is ongoingly, like Ron's, ongoingly fulfilled. We have 2 grandchildren already, Ron, so we're on the same wavelength. But there has to be, we need to stop and create that new purpose, something that's bigger than both of us.
And listen, thank you for bringing that up, because, what I will talk to Ron about, and I wasn't necessarily going to do it on the call, but it's perfect to bring it up now, is, you see, the purpose of family is a significant purpose. But if you don't have a purpose for the family, see, as the couple who's the head of the family, you have to have something bigger than the family and bigger than you. Why? Because when there's something bigger than you, when there's something bigger than the family, this isn't to minimize the family. Anybody, listen to me. This isn't to minimize the importance of your family or who you are to the family or who they are for you. In fact, it amplifies it. Why? Because when you have a purpose that's bigger than the family, then the ups and downs of life don't distract you. See, if you have just the family as your purpose, then the everyday ups and downs of life have you act a certain way when you come home. You don't want to act that way, perhaps, some negative way, but you're impacted by your day because your day is now collapsed with who you are, so you walk in and who you're being is not what you're committed to. So who is at the effect of that? Well, your spouse, your children, and in your case, grandchildren if they're present, right? But if there's something that the family stands for, something that the couple stood for, and they bring the family into it, then all these ups and downs of life don't distract you from your real purpose. Now, I don't know what that is. It's going to be different for many of you, and for some of you, it'll have your head in a spin, because it may be like, well, you might even have an argument with me now, like, well, no, I think the family's big enough. That keeps me from the ups and downs. But let me tell you, from a guy who talks to people on a regular basis about what they're dealing with in their lives, and I will tell you that the family is insufficient to keep you from being an asshole. There's got to be something that calls for you to be very big. And if the family, that is the children, grandchildren, see you be called to be very big, there's something that touches them deeply about who you are. For Raphael and I, we have not really distinguished a purpose for the couple. I could say that my declared purpose is true love, love being expressed, experienced, and expanded. That is my chosen life purpose. That's what I give myself to. And giving myself to that has me be a different kind of spouse. Totally. Because when anything calls for me to be something outside of what I'm committed to, this is big enough that it says, wait a minute, that's going to mess up everything that you say you are. And boom, it disappears in a second. You follow? Now, as a couple, we've been looking at various things. Like one thing that we're both attracted to is the Thrive movement. I went to the Pachamama Alliance a couple Saturdays ago and was very intrigued by that, which is, indirectly the same kind of work as the Thrive movement. But there's something like that I think as a couple can call to both of us and have us be bigger than we are already. So I know I said a lot of stuff. Is there anything you wanted to say in response? Was that Ron?
Ron, yes.
Go ahead, Ron.
Well, just to piggyback off of what you're creating and what Sarah had shared. So here's what I'm hearing. So this goes back to an earlier call, and I forget what stage it was that we were looking at on the call, but it had to do with the personal mission statement or purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. And
mm-hmm.
what I'm hearing in this conversation now is that's what I'm hearing you're starting to point to. And as I was listening to Sarah and then you, it's like, wow, I don't have clarity on. It's like it's not for me. It's not just grandkids. See, I don't have grandkids.
Right.
That's a future. I don't even know if I will have grandkids, but it's a future I'm living into that gives me being something that wouldn't be possible given the circumstances called I don't want to, which is pretty automatic for me. But but what I'm hearing in the coaching here is that there's something that is there, undistinguished, that's bigger than grandkids or family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worth for
me.
And
it would include the family.
And it would include the family, yeah, for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like in your business, brother. It's like if you just went day to day to make money, then the ups and downs of business would call you to be somebody smaller than you are. But you have something bigger around business that you're fulfilling. I can't even remember the mission statement we created years ago for ITP.
Yeah,
but it had something to do with affordable housing. But we had it written in a way that was inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah,
very good.
Very great. And one last piece about that is you just hit on something. That is, see if it is money, and at one time it was money early on when we were doing, some of our business training. And we were told at that time that it's too small of a game. And I can really get that now. Because once you make money, it's like, now what? Just like Sarah said.
Exactly.
Once you have your grandkids and things, now what? And what I'm hearing you point to, at least for me in this moment, is there's a mission, there's a statement, there's some value that call me to be bigger than my circumstances, and it's worth doing the thinking as to what that is for me.
Exactly. And really, if there was something I wanted to say that I wanted everybody to get off this call, number one, so there'd be like 3 points. Number one would be practicing, creating, being happy no matter what. And when you do that, I want this to be homework, okay? Between this call and next month, I want you to make note of when you do that and the impact it has on your life and the things around you. Get happiness handled. It was just like Brother Ron, when you and I were doing the business trainings, we had to get money handled first before we could create that big thing. And once money was handled, then we said, oh my gosh, now what? We're making enough money, so what are we going to do now? And then that forced us to look at something beyond just making money. And so in this case, let's have life be more than just trying to be happy. Let's have happy be handled. So that's number one, okay? And then number two, be willing to just look at what calls to you. Just notice the things you already do and see how it expresses the real you outside in the world. Does that communicate? It's a little sloppy, but does it communicate?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, great. And then the third thing is start feeling for the rhythm of the soul, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Go ahead, brother. Sorry. Were you going to say something?
I think it was somebody else. It wasn't me.
Okay. Who was it jumping in? Go ahead.
All I said is yes when you said, did it communicate? Yes, it communicated.
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
same here. Sarah,
Oh, that's great. You're now muted again. So now, everything that we just created, if you could just kind of have that right there and notice, you become more yourself. Once you identify some purpose, once you have happiness really handled and you can trust yourself to ongoingly create that, then you start to become more yourself. Now, what's the access to being more yourself? It's letting go of everything that's not really you. So what I'm saying is not complicated. It's logical, in fact. You see, most of us try putting on more in an effort to seem more ourselves. People actually act certain ways so that they seem to be themselves. Let go of that. Letting go of all the pretending, letting go of all the defenses and protection allows who you really are to show up. The more you, capital Y-O-U, the more you show up, then the more the couple gets solidified, the more opportunity for true purpose. It gives you clarity to see. You may see, in fact, that the couple you've invested in is not, in fact, real. Not real for you. It might have been a pretense for a long time. For many couples who get to that point, they use this as an opportunity to regroup, to fall in love, really, with each other. And then there's others that powerfully complete, offering freedom to their partner and to themselves. See, when I am myself, my best self, I become a source of power for my partner to want to be his best self. And the new cycle begins, a cycle where we source one another in being our greatest. It becomes fundamental. All the competition naturally disappears. So what do you love about your partner? In order to bring out the best qualities in them, you got to know what they are. Often, the qualities we resonate with are those that pair up with our own core values. So define, that would be number 3. Define what those values are for you. How do you see those manifesting in your partner? Perhaps you recognize integrity, compassion, generosity, peacefulness, adventure, love. These are the types of qualities that serve to enhance your relationship. You know, remember those times when you first discovered those great qualities in them? It felt great. It felt like a warm hug expanding from the inside out. And when you are your greatest, when you are your best, you want to contribute somehow. That's just natural. So if the couple is being their best, you now have a couple who's interested in that contribution, and you begin to notice your unique contribution as a couple to your families, to your friends, to your communities, and ultimately the world. So the created purpose for you, the created purpose for your partner, the created purpose for the couple is the rhythm of the soul. And if you want to see anything more on the rhythm of the soul or stage 5, visit my website, www.thestagesoflove.com. Go to the 7 stages and click on stage 5. There are some examples of some couples' created purposes that might be fun just to check out. I'm going to open up the line, take any last-minute sharing before we complete the call. So anybody have any last few words before we complete the call? Okay, so a reminder that I'm going to be in Sacramento Thursday evening, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. at the DoubleTree Hotel. There's more information on my website. On July 24th, I'm going to be in San Jose at the Billy DeFrank Community Center, 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Next month's call, I can't believe this, but I don't have the date in front of me for next month's call. Oh, brother. So I better get it. Let me just open it up here real quick. It is in July. And it is July 20th, 6 p.m. So thank you, everybody, for your participation. Please share with people to be on the call. And I look forward to talking to you next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Thomas.
Connection. Mine and others. Okay. How you doing in your day? Not good. All right. All done, baby. Take this or nothing. Okay. All done. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to force you. Okay. There you go, baby. Enjoy. Hold on, baby. Shall we go for a walk? I'll bring my big biscuit. You're Adrian, don't you? I was saying, this guy says that it takes 12 weeks to adapt to a low-fat diet. Well, this is an email you sent me. But I didn't. She went out there in the squat position, and she couldn't seem to get comfortable, so she didn't poop, but she looked like she needed to. And then it's like she didn't feel like it was the right place, so she tried again, trying to go further out.